We record all our hearings. By remaining on the line and participating in the hearing, you are consenting to be recorded. Our Zoom hearings have the same force and effect as if we were in person. The only difference is on Zoom, we do not have a court reporter. In the event either party wanted to appeal a final copy of this order, you can reach out to me, or a copy of a final order from this commission, you can reach out to me or Miss Belinda, and we'll provide you with a copy of the recording. I say all of this just so you're mindful of what you're saying and doing because it is being recorded. Second, at 9:00 a.m., the commissioners and myself, the attorney, met in a private executive session to discuss the day's cases. We do that on every hearing day with every case. Third, the parties had the opportunity to submit documents. I have the submitted documents saved on my computer and can share them with everyone on the screen. Please keep in mind that the commission generally only reviews the very basic documents in a case prior to the hearing. If you would like a document reviewed by the commission, please reference it by name, date, or description so that I can post it on the screen for everyone to look at the same time. Lastly, during the course of today's hearing, it might be necessary for the commissioners to speak privately to make decisions in this matter. If they need to do that, they will invite you to join separate rooms divided by party called breakout rooms. A prompt will come on your screen at the appropriate moment asking you if you would like to join a breakout room. We will direct you to click join when you see that prompt. Once in the breakout room, please remain in the room. We will never end a hearing when you are in a separate room. Please make sure you're back in this main room and that a commissioner or staff member dismisses you before you log off or hang up. Excuse me. Thank you very much for listening. With that, I'm going to hand the case over to Ms. Alkeen.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Fair Housing Commission. This is the matter of Zachary Poland versus Winfield Apartments LLC and Alice Rosenstock. The Fair Housing docket number is 2025-01-07-19584, and this is the first Fair Housing hearing. There's also a matter in municipal court scheduled for March 17th, 2025 at 8:45 a.m. in the case of Winfield Terrace Association versus Zachary Poland, docket number LT 2502053399. At this time, beginning with the tenant, can you please state and spell your first and last name, and please speak slowly and clearly for the record?
My name is Zachary Poland, spelled Zachary. Last name Poland, Poland.
Thank you. And property manager, can you please state and spell your first and last name, and please speak slowly and clearly for the record?
Yes, yes. Just for the record, I'm the regional manager, and the spelling of my name is Alex Rosenstock, ALEX. Last name Rosenstock, ROSENSTOCK.
Thank you. And counsel, can you please put your name on the record and state who you're representing?
Sure. I'm here on behalf of the landlord, so that would be Alex and the owner of the property. My name is Mark Ronaldo, MarkRenaldo.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to swear the parties in. Can you please raise your right hands? Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You can put your hands down. The commission has 3 rules for today's hearing. First, do not speak over or interrupt each other, and do not speak over or interrupt the commissioners. Each party will have an opportunity to give testimony and present evidence. Second, please do not use generic phrases such as he said and she said. Please use tenant stated or landlord stated or Mr. Poland stated. This will keep the record clear. And third, when referring to a date, please give the complete date, including the year. For example, please state the date as July 4th, 2024. Do not use just in July or last year or just in 2024. The commissioners present today are Commissioner Bias, Commissioner Brunson, and Commissioner Butler. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, and welcome to the Fair Housing Commission. The process for today's hearing will be as follows. We will first be hearing from the tenant, and then the landlord would have an opportunity to respond. Can all parties hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Poland, you filed this complaint with Fair Housing Commission on January 7th, 2025. Is that correct?
This is correct.
And can you please state the property address that we're here to discuss?
It is 4991 Parkside Avenue North, building 1913, apartment 60, Philadelphia, PA 19131.
And are you still residing at the property?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and when did you first move into the property?
August 7th
Of what year?
of 2024.
Okay, and what is the monthly rent?
The monthly rent is currently 1,600.
And when was the last time that rent was paid to the landlord?
The month that I moved in, which was August 7th of 2024.
And what have you done? Okay, so then did you start withholding rent after August?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And have you provided the commission with a bank statement showing that you are withholding your rent?
Yes, I have.
It appears that we are showing a savings account where Mr. Poland is placing his money. The account shows that he has $12,373.73.
This is correct.
Okay. When you moved into the property, let's see, this is a yearly lease. I'm sorry, is it a yearly lease? I didn't hear if you responded. You're on mute, sir.
Hello? Can
Yeah,
you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you now. Yes.
Yes, this is a yearly lease.
Okay, and it expired or it will expire on August of 2025.
That's correct.
Um, did you pay a security deposit?
Uh, I have paid for, I have insurance on my rent.
Okay. Did you pay last month's rent when you moved in?
Last month's rent? No, I don't. I didn't. I did not.
When you moved into the property, did you receive a certificate of renter suitability?
I did.
And have you been provided with a lead safe certificate?
What was that?
A lead safe certificate?
Yes, I believe so.
And do you know approximately when you received that document or were provided with that document?
I believe the same day I moved in or signed the lease.
Okay. You filed this complaint with Fair Housing Commission based on an allegation of retaliation. That is 9-8042. Can you explain to the commission exactly why you filed this complaint and what you are seeking?
Well, basically, I filed a complaint because no later than the first week that I moved into the unit, I noticed that it needed a lot of repairs. Also, that there was a very loud noise disturbance from the tenants that are living below me. Um, Also, when I applied for the apartment, the rent was $1,300, and when I moved in, they moved the rent up to $1,600. And the unit that they showed me was a fully renovated unit. The unit that they put me in was probably one of the worst units on the complex. It's bug ridden, rodent ridden, and the list of repairs that were in the emails that I sent to management are all there for you guys to see. I've been reaching out to the front desk or the leasing office
Okay,
for
so
seven.
I don't want you to get too ahead of yourself.
Okay, okay,
So you named a lot of things.
right.
Ultimately, your allegation is one of retaliation.
Hmm.
And in your complaint, you stated that you reported repairs to your landlord.
Correct.
Can you explain exactly what are the repairs that you reported to the landlord, when you reported them, and in what manner?
I reported the repairs to the landlord in August. I noticed that the door locks weren't secure. I noticed that the toilet seat wasn't fastened to the floor, that the vanity door on the bathroom vanity was placed upside down or installed upside down, that the windows, there were two windows that were broken. The spring adjustments were broken. Um, the thermostat wasn't working. Now I don't know if they have set thermostats or not, but you can't control the heat in the from the thermostat. Um, what else was wrong with it? And I believe I was smelling some gas from the stove, and when I removed the stove from the position that it was in, I saw that the tenant prior to me had put mouse traps to close the holes that were behind the stove.
How do you know that it was the tenant before you that did that?
Well, I didn't do it, and it
Okay.
was there before before I got there.
Okay. And did you communicate these issues to the landlord?
Yes, I have,
And how did you communicate them to the landlord?
through email and through text message to the property manager at the time, whose name was Aaron Roth.
Okay. And what, if any, response did you receive from the landlord based on your repair request?
I really didn't receive any of a response until I called license and inspection. So I went practically 8 months until these issues and repairs were addressed.
So the landlord took no action based on your request for repairs?
No,
They didn't acknowledge it. They didn't contact you. They didn't send any contractors to the property to investigate the issues that you were having?
not at all. And
Okay.
this is my issue.
And then you stated that you contacted licenses and inspections. When did you do that approximately?
I contacted license and inspections in January
Of 2025?
January of 2025. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, it does show that we have a LNI report, and that case number is CF 2025-009720. Shows that the property was found in violation on February 13th. And there are a number of violations listed. Unimproved conditions, interior surfaces, mechanical equipment, plumbing systems general, exterior structure, window, sky, light, door, fire extinguishers. And then lastly, what is it that you're seeking today here from Fair Housing?
I'm seeking that I be moved to a different unit, which I did have a discussion with the landlord back in the top of December of 2024, and he agreed to move me to a different unit, and then changed his mind on that situation. And this is why I had to get active with the Fair Housing Commission, because there's such a noise disturbance when I work from home. It's disruptive to my work and to my sleep. I'm not getting any sleep in that unit. It's not the unit that they showed me. It's not renovated at all, and it's ridden with bugs and insects, amongst other things, amongst the other repairs that needed to be done.
Okay. So may I ask you, when you spoke to the landlord in December of 2024, did they explain to you, from your understanding, why your email of repairs were not addressed?
No,
Did you ask them why?
I reached out to them several times about the repairs or what have you, but once we came to an agreement that they would just move me out of the unit, because I felt like the repairs that needed to be done without a tenant being living in the situation or living in the unit, I backed off of the repairs. But then he countered me and said that I had to pay to transfer to a new unit, when I felt like it was their negligence to put me in a unit that was inhabitable.
there any other information that you want the commissioners to consider this time?
No, that's it.
Okay, you'll have an opportunity to respond after the landlord's attorney through his client presents their case.
Okay.
Commissioners, do any other commissioners have questions of the tenant?
The only question I have, when Commissioner Baez asked you about a security deposit, your answer was insurance, you have insurance on your rent. What do you mean by that?
I have insurance, so if I was to default on any rent payments, they're insured. So I spent about a little over $2,000 for insurance.
Okay.
You'd like me to explain that?
Did you pay that to the landlord or you
Property
paid?
manager-
It's paid to an outside party,
Okay,
but
So the property manager, Mr. Rosenstock, is asking to explain. I'm assuming we'll let him do that on direct with his attorney. Or would you like it now, commissioners?
no, well, I can wait.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Ronaldo, you can either cross or you can present your case.
Yeah, if I could just ask a few questions of Mr. Poland real quick. Can you hear me, Mr. Poland?
sure.
Great. So you mentioned in your testimony that you informed my client that you were going to be withholding rent. Could you just remind me what time period you did that and how it was done?
I told or informed the landlord that I was retaining my rent in September of 2024, and it was via email.
Okay, I was looking through the emails that were submitted and I didn't see that specific one. I was wondering if you could provide it for me. I just didn't see an email that said I am withdrawing or withholding rent at this time due to the repairs.
Yeah, it was submitted to the Fair Housing Commission. I don't know if they have that email available, but
So
I
I
can
have a
def-
bunch. Do you know what date you sent it in?
it was in September 2024 for sure. I don't know the exact date.
Okay. I have 3. I'm working on it, Mr. Ronaldo, if you want to keep going.
If you can just pull it up, I just wanted to see because I didn't see it as I was.
I have to read them. That's the
Okay.
problem. Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty much the main line of the questioning, so I'll just wait for you to pull it up. Thank
So
you.
I see 3 from September of 2024, and they're all about being moved to another unit because of the noise volume in the property. I don't have one that mentions withholding.
Okay. If you could, I believe there's an email from January 10th, I think, or January 1st that was submitted. I think it's titled email correspondence from my side.
It's by you submitted it, not Mr. Okay.
Yes. I believe it's from either January 1st or January 10th. And I think it was the only email that I submitted.
Okay. Is it this one here?
Yes. So, Mr. Poland, are you familiar with this email thread?
I believe so.
Okay, so if you scroll down, Allison, could you scroll down really quickly? At the part here where it says January 1st, 2025 at 2:08 p.m. Is that accurate to say that you wrote an email saying I will be making a payment on Friday?
That's correct.
Okay, and this was on January 1st, 2025?
That's correct.
Okay. And then if you were to scroll up, Allison, sorry, back to the top. So then it seems that subsequently in this thread, you sent another, oh, not all the way to the top, sorry, back to his email. Thank you. So then it seems you subsequently sent this email in which you did mention that you were going to look for an adjustment of rent and you gave a list, and this was on January 1st. Is it possible that this was the first time that you told my client that you were looking to have your rent adjusted?
No, that's not the first time.
Okay, is
We
this
had
the,
a a verbal conversation, maybe a little bit after I moved in about the rent that where the rent was when I applied, as opposed to what they upcharged me for once I signed my lease. So that wasn't the first time, but that was the first time after they sent the email of my balance.
okay, let me rephrase my question. Sorry if I was confusing. Is this the first time in writing that you told my client you were looking to have your rent adjusted due to the open repairs?
That's correct.
And then I have another question regarding those same repairs. You did list a few throughout your testimony. Could you
Mhm.
just let me know or let the commission know which ones are still an issue for you and which have been addressed at this time?
What is still an issue for me is the heat in the master bedroom. Uh, and just the fact that, the base cabinets in the kitchen, the floor and the base cabinets are warped and collapsing. And I also believe that they're infested with rodents and roach eggs. So
Okay,
those are the only two things that needed repair, other than the noise disturbance that still continues to this day.
okay. So is it accurate to say that over this weekend, there were a significant amount of repairs done in your unit?
Absolutely.
And
But it took 8 months.
no, I understand that, but I'm just asking those issues outside of the last two you addressed, all of the other issues were addressed by the repairs this weekend.
That's correct.
Commissioner, I'd like to move on to direct of my client if possible.
Yes, you may.
All right, thank you. All right, Alex, can you hear me?
Sure, loud and clear.
Could you just please restate your name and role at the company in this property?
Yes, my name is Alex Rosenstock. I am the regional property manager.
Okay, and you are the manager of this particular unit in which Mr. Poland lives?
Yes, I'm the regional of this particular site, yes.
Okay. And how long have you been the regional manager for this site?
I've been at this site since, I believe, early June 2024.
Okay. And do you have an active rental license for this property?
Yes,
Okay. And was Mr. Poland, as you heard his testimony, provided with a certificate of rental suitability and lead safe certificate?
yes,
Okay. And when was this provided to him?
at his lease signing.
Okay. Allison, could you please pull up a copy of the ledger for me, please?
Yes, one moment, please.
Okay. Alex, is this a accurate depiction? I guess if you could scroll down to the bottom, Allison, so you can see the current balance for me. Alex, is this an accurate depiction of Mr. Poland's ledger?
Yes, I mean, just to be clear and open, on the 25th already in our system, March's rent is already added on, but this is currently owed.
Okay. And when was the last time that you received rent from Mr. Poland?
We only received rent when he moved in, and we have not received anything since.
Okay. And during his testimony, you did hear about the insurance policy in lieu of a deposit. Could you please
Yes.
explain that for the commission?
Yes, so the way that works is, if there's criteria to be approved for an apartment. If you don't, if you fall into what's called conditional, then you're given the opportunity to apply through the guarantors program, which is an outside third-party company, and you pay them a deposit to guarantee us your rent. And then you pay a monthly, what's called a deposit waiver fee, which gets added onto you on a monthly basis as long as the term of the lease is, and you're not required to give a security deposit.
Okay. And throughout Mr. Pullen's tenancy, did he ever request a transfer?
Yes.
Okay. And could you elaborate on how that discussion went?
Yeah, so we originally met, and obviously first was in person. At that point, he had owed already 2 months' rent and was made very clear that his balance needs to be paid up before ownership would consider allowing a transfer to be done. And then when he revisited it later on, at that point already, he was in the legal process due for non-payment. And so at that point, he was denied the right for a transfer as he was in the legal matter, due to the legal matter that was already been filed in landlord-tenant court.
Okay. And Allison, if you could please pull up the notice to vacate. I believe it's from December 20th.
Yes.
Thank you. Alex, are you familiar with this document?
I haven't read it through it, but I've seen them.
Right. And is Barrett's Law Associates the law firm that you hired for any eviction actions for Mr. Poland?
Yes.
Okay. And why was this sent, the notice to quit?
Well, due to the fact that we haven't received any payment, and there was no, he had mentioned that he was going to pay and never paid, so.
Okay. And at the time that this was sent, which looks like it's dated for December 20th, had you received any sort of written notice for Mr. Poland that he was withholding his rent?
No.
Okay. I'd like to touch a little bit on the maintenance issues that were brought up. How are maintenance requests generally made for this property?
You put a request into the software through the, every tenant has a online portal in Yardi, the management software we use, and they can put in a maintenance request, and then it gets addressed by the on-site maintenance staff. If they can't handle it, then we will bring in a third-party vendor to handle.
And did you ever receive any maintenance requests through that method from Mr. Poland?
No.
Okay. But did you ever receive any correspondence from him regarding issues in the property?
Well, besides the email that we brought up on the screen, that was in, I believe, in January 2025. Prior to that, no.
Okay. And as far as the issues that were in that January email, what efforts have been taken to address them as of today's date?
Okay, so obviously, all the items we've gone into his unit multiple times to do multiple repairs. I know the heat.
Oh, sorry,
was repaired
Alex.
along-
I could just stop you 1 second. I think it might help. Allison, could you pull up the work orders, I believe, that were submitted? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Alex, but I think it might help if we have these up while you
So
speak.
there's a lot of them, so.
Yeah, I guess, rather than going, because we don't have as much time through each one, is there a way you could kind of quickly scroll through them? I don't know if that's asking too much from you, but just to kind of give an idea.
I mean,
Of
I
what's
can
done.
do my best. They're sent in all separate PDFs.
Yeah.
So. So there's 8 of them. Here's the first one.
Thank you. And then Alex, sorry, you can continue with the efforts that have
Okay,
been.
so this was the window, again, I'll be very honest, when it comes to the details of each work order, I'm not that familiar. There's people below me that handle them, but I do know that when all the work orders that are up here were handled, were addressed, there's photos attached to each one, what was completed, but I can't really discuss in detail of each one.
Okay. And regarding the L&I violation that was shown earlier, to the best of your knowledge, all of the issues that were issued for the violations, are they addressed at this time?
far as I'm aware, yes, the one item, obviously, that's the fire extinguishers. The company that handles that for us was at the private property yesterday, they're again today, and we've already reached out to L&I to file for to re-inspect, which will be this Friday.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Do any commissioners have questions for the landlord?
Yes, I have a question for the landlord. You were giving testimony regarding using the portal for maintenance requests. When was the first time you were made aware of Mr. Poland's issues in his unit? Rather, he used a portal or verbal or whatever means to let management know that there were issues in his unit. When was the first time?
So I'll be very honest here. The property manager that rented him the unit no longer works for us. So most of the verbal communications would have gone through him, and so that I can attest to. The only one that I was made aware of is the email that was brought up that Mark had them bring up just recently, which was from January. Prior to that, it falls on the previous property manager, so I really wouldn't know.
Okay, thank you.
Just touching back on that a little bit more, Mr. Poland stated that he had some communications in December. Who was involved in that conversations from your perspective?
I don't know. It wasn't me. I guess
You
Mr.
were not
Poland.
involved
The only
in that
time
conversation, Mr. Poland. Okay.
No, I met with Mr. Poland once after he moved in to discuss some issue. There was a $200 credit, which you can see on his ledger, that I agreed to give him. That was that conversation.
So just so that
After
we
that, it
are
wasn't for me.
all on the same page, I guess ultimately, thank you, Ali, for putting this email up. The email that we're seeing here shows that in August 9th, 2024, Mr. Poland sent an email to Winfield, which is, I'm assuming, is the company that manages the
Property
property.
manager. No,
Okay.
that's Winfield at Montium.com. Montium is the company that manages it. Winfield is the property, so that's the manager's email.
So whose email is this?
Property managers.
Okay. Would they be the ones who would address any issues with the property?
Yes, the gentleman that he's addressing here is Ari, who no longer works for us.
Okay, but besides Ari, would anybody else in the company address the issues? Obviously, even if someone leaves the company, I would assume that there would be some type of protocol that would ensure that when a tenant sends an email asking for certain things, that those things are addressed.
Correct. So
Or
Ari
does-
was working for us at this time. He was the one who must have responded or dealt with Mr. Poland at the time. But that was via email. That's not through our system or portal that anybody else would have seen it.
Well,
As the property manager.
all that we need to be on the same page is that obviously through the testimony that we've heard here today, we sort of were led to assume that the tenant did not report any repairs to the property. And obviously through this email, we're seeing that that testimony isn't completely accurate. So I don't know if Mr. Ronaldo would like to address that, or how do we
he can.
reconcile these two issues at this time?
Yeah, so my questioning was for Alex, to his knowledge. It appears these emails were sent to who I believe is Ari, who I think was the property manager at the time. So I don't know if the way that the question was asked, it was misleading to you. I apologize for that. My question was to Alex's knowledge.
Well, obviously it was only his knowledge, but I would assume that being that this is a property manager, even if there's a turnover in staff, that when things are sent, that someone in the company will still know and address it. And well, okay, we don't need to go there. If
That's an
the-
assumption. That's not the property manager's email is not a typical way of communicating with a resident. Most residents go through the portal for communication via work order. There's a text message through the portal as well, and emails through the portal. Emailing a private property manager's email is not something that anybody else in the site or management will be aware of.
So we also heard that there was a credit given to the tenant for $200. What was that for?
That was for when he moved he had to clean his unit. It's on the ledger.
Sorry, he was given a $200 credit to clean his unit when he moved in. Is that what you're saying?
When he moved in, he cleaned his unit. He brought that to my attention. I sat down in person and met with him. He came to an agreement of $200 credit because he had to clean his unit because he felt clean enough to move in,
I see.
and
Okay,
it's on the ledger.
understood. Thank you. I have no other questions. I don't know if Mr. Ronaldo at this time or Mr. Poland, you both will have an opportunity to make final statements, but before we move into that, I don't know if any other commissioners have questions of either party.
I have no other questions.
Okay. Mr. Poland, you may provide a quick summary of any additional information that we need to know, and then Mr. Ronaldo will be afforded the same opportunity.
Yes, thank you for that, Commissioner. I will say that when I met with Alex twice in 2024, once in September, once in December, and I know he said that he didn't meet me in December, but he did. The first time in September when I retrieved the credit for having to clean my unit because my unit wasn't even clean. I did address those other issues as well, because why wouldn't I if I'm sitting with the regional manager? I let him know verbally what was going on in the property. I told him that the noise was so loud that the paintings on my walls were being knocked down, and he kind of gave me an arrogant and dismissive attitude, which I felt like it wasn't conducive of a tenant landlord relationship. I then repeated or reuttered these repairs and noise disturbances back in December, till finally he granted me verbally that he would transfer me out of the unit, which I felt like it should have been more than fair request to do in the beginning when I asked for it. So once he reneged on that, then I had to get the Fair Housing Commission involved, and like I said, I felt like I was being discriminated against because my request for the repairs and just to be transferred and moved was not being honored at all.
Okay, thank
But-
you for that. Just for the record, this is a retaliation case, not a discrimination case.
Right. So I feel like that.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
We
Okay.
understand. Mr.
Okay.
Ronaldo, you may provide a closing or a summary of what you want the commission to consider.
Sure. So this, as you mentioned, this is about the notice to quit being considered retaliatory. As you saw through the evidence presented today, the notice to quit was sent on December 20th. And the first time that the landlord was informed that the tenant in writing was going to be withholding rent was sent subsequent to that. The L&I violations, which can also be considered as far as with retaliatory actions and things like that, were issued on February 14th and then have been addressed and hopefully will be considered clear at the newest assessment this Friday. But as far as a retaliatory action, the notice to quit was only sent due to Mr. Poland's failure to pay rent throughout the entirety of his tenancy, other than the first month from when he moved in.
Okay, thank you. If there are no additional questions to the parties, we will be inviting you to join a breakout room while the commission takes this matter in consideration. So if you see that prompt, please join.
Mhm.
Okay, I have landlord and landlord's attorney. If you guys can hear me, can you please nod? Great. Just waiting on the tenant commissioners. Once I see them, I'll let you know.
Okay, it looks like the tenant is back and we are recording. Can all parties hear me?
Yes.
You can just nod if you can. Okay, so the Fair Housing Commission is ready to issue a final order in this matter. We're going to be finding that there is no substantial evidence of retaliation. Therefore, the notice to vacate is valid. However, given the issues that we heard and the repair concerns that the tenant voiced, we do find that that does warrant a 20% abatement starting in September until the LNI violations are closed. The details of the responsibilities for each party will be listed in the order. And then there, the tenant will know exactly how much rent he owes the landlord. That order will be in writing and it will be emailed to the parties. Are there any questions?
Mr. Poland, if you're speaking, you're on mute.
I do have a question. I just like to state for the record that due to me signing the lease, that October and November was 3 months on the rent, and so I wasn't even 3 months behind on the rent before I received the notice to vacate. But just taking consideration that October and November was free once I signed my lease.
Yes, property manager.
Yes, on the ledger, it shows that the 2 months free is on the ledger. The balance that's
Well-
there is with the 2 free months on it.
The
Okay.
Fair House, the commission will look at the ledger and determine what's owed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That all parties are free to go. Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, I'm concluding this hearing and going over to the 10:15.